Anyone who still thinks commercial air travel is fun probably hasn't struggled through a big airport lately. Deregulation, competition, cut-rate fares, and crowds have made air travel barely more comfortable than a rush-hour bus. And few places are more chaotic than Pearson International just outside Toronto. It opened 50 years ago today, and the first passengers could drive their cars right to the end of the runway. They called it Moulton after the neighboring village, and the terminal was a two-story wooden farmhouse. Now it's Pearson International, big, noisy, crowded to the point of bursting, and suffering from terminal illness. It's 1 in the morning and 20 below. The holiday's over.
Terrible airport, terrible. Brutal, criminal hard. D-27. What a jerk. The place would move a lot faster if there wasn't idiots like him here.
These people have been in the air for 5 hours, on the tarmac for 2, and at customs for 1. They've made it to the curb, but now have an hour wait for cabs. By the time they get home, their tans will have faded. And just try to get your hands on a baggage cart. It's the nightly horror show at Terminal 1. Too much luggage, too many people, and just not enough room in the elevators.
What are we doing for late night flights so far?
Duty manager Al Tweeton paces 1 floor below the chaos. The 21 monitors and 46 telephone lines in the airport operations center bring him 1,000 headaches a day.
Great.
He's a troubleshooter. Most of his trouble comes from Pearson's aging Terminal 1. It was built 25 years ago to handle 3 million people a year. Now 9 million strain its resources.
So that's triple the usage on the systems, that's triple the usage on the air conditioning systems, heating systems, the doors, everything coming together to contribute to the perception of the place as a mess. But
What you just said sounds like the ideal definition of mess.
yeah, well, it's challenging.
He's late, but so is his flight. Terminal 2 was built in 1972 to relieve the crush at Terminal 1, but now it's at capacity. Pearson is Canada's busiest airport, with 20 million passengers a year.
They should start boarding your flight around 25 after 9.
Every day, 600 planes from 68 airlines pass through Pearson International, and with deregulation, more want in. But while you can ticket the passengers and check their baggage, no one flies until the control tower says so. Controlling air traffic from up here means juggling 95 planes an hour within a 7-mile radius.
191 after the beach, 200 an hour from monitor ground, 2165 today.
Said maintain 3,000.
3 or 425.
In the last 5 years, air traffic has doubled, but the tower is understaffed 90% of the time.
24, right? Toronto number 1 said maintain 3,000.
3 men are out because they couldn't handle the pressure of 8-day shifts and 12-hour days. Lineups in the terminal, lineups on the tarmac. As many as 50 planes, delays of up to 3 hours. It was becoming a pressure cooker with 110 flights an hour. So last November, the Department of Transport slapped on a lid. The number of flights was cut back to 70 an hour. But controllers still have planes coming at them 1 minute apart. And over the last year, there have been a record number of near collisions. Bruce Connor has been in the tower for 15 years.
Yeah, 285 tower call departure 128-1.
When you're looking at the screen and you have all your aircraft lined up, do you actually think of them as airplanes with hundreds of people in?
No, you never. I don't think anybody thinks of it that way. Very few. It's the only person I've heard answer that positively in the last little while was one of the people who's off medically at the moment because of the stress.
Is this such a macho job that when an air traffic controller is working a lot of overtime, he says, hey, no problem, I can do it?
Yeah, you do. There is a certain macho, not macho is not the word probably, but there is a certain ego factor to it that this isn't getting me. I can do this. When in fact, I know when I've worked beside someone who's worked too much overtime, I think he's doing not a good job, but he's certainly not doing an unsafe job. But you can see it, and you can see the person unwilling to sort of admit it, to be back right in there the next day for overtime.
You are painting a very nervous-making picture.
I wouldn't want to paint that kind of a picture. I don't think it is that sort of thing. Occasionally you will, cut corners to move traffic. We call it cutting corners. There's really nothing illegal in what we do type thing. It's sort of a pushing the type of thing.
19-year collisions is a lot, it seems to me.
It is a lot, certainly. Definitely.
Since this conversation, there have been more near collisions reported, bringing the total to 22 in 1988. 6 were so close, there's going to be an investigation. There's an emergency on runway 24R. The man on duty in charge of the airport is Steve Silverheart, and he's on his way. 15 minutes outside of Toronto, a commuter plane en route to Sudbury has to turn back. Something wrong with the landing gear.
She's going to be landing 24 right in about 20 minutes. So far we've got 37 souls on board. Bill Hazardous, he's got some gear problems. He's unable to get his gear down, and we'll get back to you with the fuel as soon as we've got it.
Okay, check that command post, 5th line November.
Roger.
Silverheart initiates full emergency procedure. Crash fire rescue units, a medical hospital bus, the Mississauga Fire Department, Peel Regional Police, and RCMP all show up within minutes.
I've got a gear problem, Margaret's indicated everything's okay.
Okay.
So they're going to, equipment's going to follow him.
I haven't got any information.
That's all we've got.
You don't have an airline or?
Oh, it's Air Ontario?
Yeah.
It's Dash 8.
Canada 147, what's your discretion? Yep.
Okay?
Thank you. Air Canada 147, what's your discretion?
That's him right now.
Pearson has the busiest airport fire hall in Canada. Its alarm rings 700 times a year. This time, the plane lands safely. Over at check-in, the challenge is to convince the agent this will fit under the seat.
We have a dog.
Yeah, all Canadian flights come here.
626 to Montreal. Yep, and this the dog's actually going on to Goose Bay.
Everybody's giving him a kiss.
50 million pieces of luggage go through Pearson every year, and surprisingly, they lose very few. All but 1 million suitcases end up where and when they're supposed to. Two veterans of check-in wars, Teresa on the left and Dahlia, have seen it all.
We get everything come through here, tires, live animals, engines.
Car engines?
Car doors. People put just an engine in one bag and expect us to lift it and throw it on the belt. I once checked in a passenger and he said four of us are traveling. And I said, can I have the other 2 tickets? Because he only gave me 2 tickets. And he planted his mom and dad right in front of my counter.
In an urn, though. An urn. They were in an urn.
They were cremated.
And what did you explain to this passenger?
I was white as a ghost. Because I had this thing standing in front of me and would refuse to move it, too. You know? I don't want to check in somebody that's dead in front of me.
You must have great stories to exchange over coffee after your shift is over.
Yes. We get a lot of irates that come up to the counter already irate. I don't know, people are different when they walk into an airport.
Really?
Yeah,
they become nervous so that they lose their minds.
They're very nervous. They don't know where they're going. They walk through the door and they're like looking around like, where am I?
Dates, you're going where to?
Lisbon.
You go around to the flashing light and then turn left. It's the first hallway on your left.
Thank you.
Duty manager Al Tweeton has to keep things moving, but only 20 of the 60 million people who come to Pearson are flying anywhere.
I watched one lady come in one day who was obviously a departing passenger, and I counted the people. There was 24 people, so I thought maybe 12 of them were passengers. There wasn't. There was just this one lady, and so it was 25 people coming to the airport for one passenger.
Tweeton smells trouble at the London and Lisbon boarding gate.
Hey, Bill, do you have the help us get us through?
Yes, bring the baby up.
Can you? It's only 4 months
If you have
old.
only a 4-month baby, bring the baby up. Are you traveling?
No.
Okay, you get out now. Okay, yeah, he's fine. Move up to the front of the line over there because we're waiting for you. That flight's going to leave soon.
Stay in a straight line, please.
Some coins.
Get away from here.
How?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Things were getting unruly here in town.
It was a madhouse, but Reverend Paul Healy, Pearson's full-time chaplain, descended upon the crowd.
And I saw them, and they really were getting a little bit out of control, to say the least. And I suddenly realized they're Catholics. I'm a Catholic priest. I don't understand Portuguese. They don't understand English, but they understand the rosary beads. So I put them all on their knees. And I said the rosary in Latin. They answered me in Portuguese, and they got very quiet and very well behaved. That was one incident, which I thought rather charming.
The airport employs 2 full-time chaplains, but no doctor. Any of the 30 medical emergencies that occur in a week are handled by a nurse.
What's your name?
It always seems to happen on the busiest night. A man just arrived at the airport and collapsed.
We're going into a peak period here, so anything early or late could mean a gate change.
These people may look like they're playing the latest board game, but they're the airport's gate controllers. It's their job to match arrivals, departures, size of plane, to come up with the right number of gates at the right time for incoming aircraft.
985, board air 901. What time about? I'm just trying to find it here on the board.
Okay, he'll be off by 40, max.
How did he get to be 2 hours early?
Nothing is routine here. They're sorting out over 30 flight delays and tracking down a plane which has gone to the wrong gate. Every time the phone rings, the rules of the game change.
Which airline?
Board air 901's 2 hours early. 2200, I told him they may not have a gate.
901?
That he was midnight, he's now 2200. And I told him they may not have a gate at that time.
With a 747, he comes in 2 hours early.
Yeah. They told me they understood.
They understood that they may be on the south this evening with their friends.
I had some partner times.
They'll have to wait. I've got to figure out this CP first. It's a royal mess.
With Terminal 1 only having 23 gates and I believe 26 or 28 airlines, it becomes critical that if you've booked the time from, say, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, you've got to be leaving at 3, and we'll only have a 15-minute grace period or 10 minutes sometimes. And when they run late, then we have to go be the big ugly ogres and put some pressure on them.
Who really runs the airport? The airlines or the Department of Transport?
I think it's a happy marriage, or rocky at times, but there
That's
are
what
tenants.
everybody says about their marriage when asked.
Yes.
Oh, it's a happy marriage. Now, what's the truth?
What's the truth is that the airlines will want everything out of us. We'll want even more out of them, and it's business. It's big business. It's $200 million a year in business.
And for Transport Canada, a profitable one. The airport where you can't get a baggage cart, a parking spot, or a flight on time made a $50 million profit last year. And for the airlines, planes stacked up for a landing spot or lined up on the tarmac cost them $25 million in fuel and crew time. In this business, if it doesn't move, it costs. Your luggage ends up on Spine Road in the basement of Terminal 2. Information on the baggage tag is fed into a computer, which programs each tray on the 150-foot conveyor belt. And your suitcase is dumped in front of the right loading cart. Leftover chicken supreme is hosed down at the Marriott flight kitchens. It's an operation the military would be proud of. These chefs spend all day cooking nothing but omelets. Everyone gripes about airline food, but this kitchen, which churns out 15,000 meals daily, boasts chefs who have cooked at the Savoy in London and the Princess in Bermuda. The man who used to puff pastry for Imelda Marcos now fills fruit trays for flyers.
luck, Carol.
If we need any ambulance down the stairs, do you want me to get a truck?
It's 5 o'clock. Half an hour ago, Al Tweeten was notified that a WorldWays flight from Cuba is coming in. On board, about 25 survivors of a boating accident.
Let me check with the duty manager, double check that, but we're going to arrange something that lowers the people down.
That'd be much better, yeah.
That's all Tweeten knows. With so little information, he prepares for the worst and summons a dozen rescue vehicles to stand by.
And if we're going to be manipulating them downstairs, you don't know what's going to happen with them.
No, we have all the ambulance units waiting against consolidated fuel. They're right behind the aircraft.
At 5:30, the WorldWays DC-8 pulls into Gate 63. Minutes later, 11 people are taken to hospital.
Those lights short final, I'll have you on the runway right after.
The evening hours are the busiest at Pearson. Charters from the south coming in, overseas flights going out. It's also one of the toughest times for a controller. As it gets dark, he has to rely more on radar to keep the aircraft a safe distance apart.
Truck 88, proceed on the runway 6 left.
Controller Bruce Connor.
Have you ever felt out of control?
Yeah, I think everybody has felt out of control at one point or another in the last while.
Explain to me what this feels like.
Well, we sort of refer to it sometimes as losing the picture. You have the picture of what is going on around you all the time. And I'm sure every controller has had it at one point or another where you lose, we call it lose the picture. And all of a sudden, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where everybody is. I got to slow this down for a minute and find out, get myself back into gear.
What happens in the skin of an air traffic controller when he is involved in a near collision?
At the time, it is very, very hard on you. You know, almost to the point of making you sick type of thing. I don't know how you would describe the feeling. It's a very sinking feeling to know that you've just had one, as we refer to it, having an incident. Very sinking feeling. And it scares the hell out of you.
Okay, so the bulk of our arrivals are the 12:30 slot.
It's past midnight, and Tweeten labors to clear the crowd. Things won't get much better here for another year and a half, when a third terminal goes into operation. But as soon as it opens, it too will be overcrowded.
Which one?